Hi, welcome to another video from Cardboard East. My name is Jay. I play board games from Asia and share what I find with all of you. Today we're going to go to the depths of hell and grab a drink with Demonuki. Demonuki comes from Japan and is based on an old Japanese game called Babanuki. I believe that's right. And Babanuki is very similar to what we in the West know as Old Maid. I'm going to show you how to play and give you my impressions after that. Let's get on to the content. Welcome to the world of Demonuki. All you need to play Demonuki is this deck of cards. First thing you're going to do is deal out the entire deck evenly to every single player. Then take a look at your hand and discover all the patrons of this fantasy bar. You'll find orcs, minotaurs, elves, goblins, dwarves, lots of goblins, halflings, and if you're very unlucky, you'll find the one and only demon. The player holding this card at the end of the game loses. So, the point of this game is to get rid of all the cards from your hand first, and don't be the person left holding the demon. And then like that, you're ready to begin the game. On your turn, you could do one of two different things. The first thing you could do is go through your entire hand, and if you find a pair, let's say for example this pair of goblins, then I can play that pair face up out of my hand onto the table. Then my turn's over. I'll take a random card from the next player, maybe Samus, and then take this card and then add it into my hand. Samus takes a turn, Link takes a turn, and then it's my turn again. So now on my turn, instead of playing, let's say, this pair of dwarves, I can instead play a single card by itself for its ability. So look at this dwarf here. It says you do not need to take any cards from the next player. So I place this face up, activate its ability, and then instead of drawing a card from the next player's hand, I can pass that, and it is the next player's turn. Remember, you're trying to get rid of every single card in your hand. Eventually, there'll be 3 cards left, not just for one hand, but collectively among all the players. Once that happens, the game immediately ends. Then you reveal the hands, and then if whoever has the demon loses the game. Now, there are a few caveats to this because, well, there are lots of card abilities, so let's talk about these abilities now. Goblins are especially cool. In fact, there's more goblins than anything else in the entire deck. But goblins allow you to discard more than 2 cards. You can discard 2, 4, or 6 goblins at the same time. So if I just happen to start off with 6 goblins in my hand, well then, sayonara. And now my hand is much smaller, increasing the odds that someone takes this demon out of my hand. We also have the dwarf, which you've seen before. You play this, and then you don't have to draw a card from the next player. The orc here gives the next player 1 additional card. So after you play a card, let's say I played this orc, they are forced to take this card into their hand. So normally when you play a card, the next player will have to take this card into their hand. Well, lucky me, I could just take a card, let's take the demon card, and I'll place it face down underneath the orc. Well, then they'll take both these cards into their hand. Everyone knows they'll have the orc, and they'll also get this mystery card, and it could be, yes, even the demon. Now there's also the Minotaur here, and the Minotaur will reverse the order of play. This is important because maybe this player has fewer cards, or I know they have the demon, so I want to start drawing from their hand, not that hand. Next up, we have the Elf. The next player privately shows you 3 cards of their choice, and I can choose one of these cards as opposed to me picking from them randomly. So the Elf allows you some mitigation to choose what you want. Now, the halfling here forces the next player to randomly pick one of their cards and place it face up for everyone to see. Now, technically, that card that's face up is still a part of their hand, so do keep that in mind. The werewolf, in fact, there are 2 werewolves. The werewolves are quite interesting. They are essentially a wild. They can count as any other card. They can even pair with the demon to get that out of the game. Now, what that means is the last wolf, in this case, becomes the new demon, and whoever is holding the last werewolf in the game also loses Demonuki. Components. Well, there isn't much here. I mean, it's just a box, it's a rule book, and it's a whole bunch of cards. Card quality is really nice. Again, these are all prototypes, so please take what I say about with a grain of salt, and just remember that all of this may change. The components are fine. The one thing about the UI, though, that I will talk about is that with every card game, I just think that there should always be indices in the top left-hand corner, so that when your hand is in your hand, you can kind of see some information there. So that way you don't have to spread your hand out really wide to see everything, that you can kind of hold a shorter hand like this. So that's one thing that I think that is really missing from this game. I think with that little indice in the top left-hand corner, it would just make the game a little smoother. And it's not that there aren't that many cards. I mean, like it's really easy to make like a halfling icon, an elf icon, a werewolf icon, a demon icon, and a minotaur icon, and I believe it's dwarves, right? Dwarfs, and goblins. Yes, but that's pretty simple. And I think with that, the game should flow by a lot more smoothly. Gameplay, this is not something that's super heavy. It is a very, very approachable, light family game. In fact, when you read about some of the things in designing that went in development that went into this game, it was designed to be played with kids. So totally keep that in mind. And for what I see here, this is really fast feedback. It's very nice. It's light. It does not outstay its welcome at all. It's like a nice, 10-minute game? I would say that's about right. 10 minutes is about right for this game. And it can be quite fun. You can definitely see that like going out and playing cards and trying to target people is a little hard if they're not to the left or right of you. It's hard to stop the people there in front of you. But sometimes you can definitely tell that one person has all these cards, and trying to bluff like who has the demon and who has the werewolf is kind of hard sometimes. And the fact that you're pulling cards from the person not in front of you, but the next player, is always interesting. That keeps you on your toes, especially because I might think I'm going to do this, but then a card disappears from my hand. That could totally change my strategy. And then there's a matter of, I have the demon in my hand. Do I eliminate more cards from my hand, so that way it's a higher probability that someone grabs the demon? These are like fun little things, and there is a decision space in there in the game. And I don't think it's too much decision space, because I don't think you want that much decision space, because again, it's for family. And I think that this would be fun to play with kids. I really miss playing games with my students when I lived in Taiwan, and I could just force them to play games with me. Tons of fun. Seeing kids kind of learning how to lie is always interesting. Some are better at it than others, and some are just absolutely terrible at it. And so like these little deduction and bluffing games are always fun to play with kids in that regard. Once again, my name's Jay. I play board games from Asia and share what I find with all of you. I'm going to put a link to a video up here that I think you'll enjoy. See you there.